Live from digital address GA09933441. Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Midday News.
Our COVID-19 treatment centers have gone from having 0 patients to now being 4. Ghana Health Service is recording on the average 200 new cases of COVID infections daily.
The bulletin is live on Joy 99.7 FM here in Accra. It's also live on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi. Affiliates across Ghana, including Kaleo FM in Akachi, Pad FM in Damongo. Worldwide, we're live at myjoyonline.com. In this edition, head of Greater Accra Regional Hospital reveals more people are dying from post-COVID complications in Ghana.
And there are some people who have survived the COVID but died from complications of COVID. They've survived the primary COVID disease, but they will go home or either still remain in the hospital. We've had several of such cases who have died with COVID, post-COVID lung complication.
We have details as doctors recommend sustained medical supervision after recovery from the virus to ensure early detection of complications also.
I'm not in favor because these are medical matters and they are confidential matters. It's a matter of law.
Yes, we are in a pandemic. People's medical records are confidential to them. I don't think that Parliament...
But if you... Some MPs challenge Speaker of Parliament's threat to name legislators who have tested positive for COVID-19 but are still participating in the business of the House.
I don't want to be compelled next week to read out the names of those who haven't complied with the directive.
What action will Parliament take? We have details. 3 children who survived the deadly crash on the Tamale-Buipe Road, which killed 20 people, stranded after their mother died in that ghastly accident.
3 children, and then their dead mother, and then 1 other child that died with her. So the police have encouraged her to take possession of those children.
We have more as the Director of Building and Road Research Institute says the percentage of our GDP spent on road crashes can be used in preventing them. In sports,
although COVID-19 cases are rising, local boxing is expected to return this year. Details in the next 20 minutes. And later in the bulletin.
Me, for instance, even if I see my girlfriend do that for the first time, I might even buy you a cake.
As the head of the family, I have the right to do so, but she has no right to do that to me.
Is flatulence by your partner enough reason to consider leaving a relationship? We hear more responses, that and more here on the Midday News with me, Emefa Apau. Please stay for details. And this afternoon, it is emerging that more people are dying from post-COVID complications. Medical Director of the Greater Accra Regional Hospital, Dr. Emmanuel Sropenyo, revealed some patients who recover from COVID-19 are reporting back to the hospitals with complications which are suspected to have been caused by the virus. From difficulty in breathing to general fatigue, the post-COVID complications are proving to be fatal. Listen to Dr. Sropenyo of the Regional Hospital as he disclosed this exclusively to Joy News.
You can get COVID, recover, but get what we call post-COVID complications because of the leftover complications that it leaves on you, like the lungs. The lungs is the first place. Sometimes you can get COVID, your test may turn negative, but you may still come back to the hospital with severe respiratory complications or severe cardiovascular complications simply because you've had COVID in recent times. So we have seen this clearly. And there are some people who have survived the COVID but died from complications of COVID. They've survived the primary COVID disease, but they will go home or either still remain in the hospital. We've had several of such cases who have died with COVID, post-COVID lung complication or post-COVID complications. So again, this is a message to the public that for those who may have survived initially from the COVID complication, the COVID itself, they must remain in close contact with their doctors, continue to attend their medical checkups so that they can be taken through the overall space of time to be sure that they are completely fine. They should not just go back to bed too quickly or relax their guard too quickly because they may experience some other complications which may be related to the COVID.
I bet you want to hear more about this post-COVID complications. Shortly, we'll be joined on the phone by the head of Infectious Disease Department of Medicine and then also Kolebu Teaching Hospital and also with the UG Medical School for more on the post-COVID complications. But, well, he may not be dying, but one person who has suffered from post-COVID complications is Vice President, Accra College of Medicine, Reverend Professor Adukwe Hesse. He's been sharing his experience on the Super Morning Show.
Caught COVID-19.
Well, this illness is both, people don't realize, it's both mental and physical. My thinking, processing, and so forth
It's not as sharp as it used to be. I get tired, so on and so forth. You're not feeling as strong as you are, and walking, shortness of breath. It's better every time. But, I climb one flight of stairs, and I'm puffed as if I ran 100 meters in that time. That was before, and so on and so forth. Even sometimes talking at the time when it was bad, talking was difficult.
Now, you're a professor of medicine, no less. Having such mental and physical damage from this disease, how is it affecting your work?
Even thinking is a process.
That's the Vice President, Accra College of Medicine, Reverend Professor Adokwe Hesse. They're sharing his experience on post-COVID complications. Meanwhile, in one of the many manifestations of the virus, 64-year-old Auntie Joyce, who just got off the mechanical ventilator at the ICU of the COVID-19 treatment center at Rage, is struggling to complete a minute-long conversation without gasping for breath. My colleague Manuel Cranting spent a day with her at the ICU. We'll hear Manuel's report shortly, but let me take you to Parliament at this point, because you have no right to publish medical records of MPs. That's a caution to the Speaker of Parliament by some members of the House, following the Speaker, Alban Bagwing's threat to name legislators who have tested positive for COVID-19 but are still participating in the business on the floor. The Speaker last week gave the warning following a spike in the number of infections among MPs.
Members should take it serious. The numbers started slowly, and it is rising. I don't want to be compelled next week to read out the names of those who haven't complied with the directive. And so this is the last call I want to make on members, because the team from the Noguchi Institute, they are attending basically to the staff, both parliamentary and support staff. So I expect that we should take advantage of the 3 days and get tested, not just for your good, but for the good of all the members of your family, your friends, and your colleagues here in the House. So please, that should be the last call I will make.
But almost a week after that warning, some MPs known to the Speaker and the leadership to be carrying the virus ignored all warnings and are still participating in the business of the House. At yesterday's sitting, the first Deputy Speaker, Jose Wusu, directed that those MPs desist from entering the chamber.
Thus far, about 50 members of Parliament and staff have not submitted to the test. I'm pleased requesting any member or any staff who have not submitted to the test to please do so immediately. Secondly, Mr. Speaker wishes me to draw the attention of members to the House that some members of Parliament who have in fact tested positive to the COVID are still coming to the chamber. The Speaker wishes me to inform that if those members do not withdraw and isolate, he will be forced to publish the names of members who have tested positive in order to warn the rest of us. Please, let's take this protocol seriously and let all members who have been informed of their test results that they have tested positive withdraw from the precincts of Parliament, not just the chamber. Stay home and self-isolate, go through the protocols and recover before they return to the House.
That's the first Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Jose Wusu there. His call was supported by the Majority Leader, Oseichi Mensah-Bonsu, and the Minority Chief Whip, Mutaka Mubarak.
Out of the 60 that have not submitted, 52 have still not submitted. And that is the danger. The Speaker, it's important that we submit ourselves. Many of the staff have also not submitted themselves. And some of the journalists with us have also not submitted themselves. If you don't, in all likelihood, from next week, as the Speaker insisted, we will not allow people who have not submitted to be in the chamber.
But members of Massa, I need to know so that I can help the House ensure that these members are not only in the chamber, but they are also not in their offices. So I hope that this will be done. And secondly, Mr. Speaker, all of us, those who have taken the test, even where it is negative, it is important that that report, that sheet is given to every member. You just don't keep quiet and tell me that if I'm not called, that means I'm negative. If it is only when you are positive that you call. No. Give me.
Well, some MPs have supported the call by the Speaker to name and shame those MPs who've tested positive but are still participating in the business of the House. But Member of Parliament for South Dai in the Volta region, Roxin Dafalmakbo, says the Speaker cannot disclose the health status of the MPs involved.
I'm negative. And some members who were not available at the time that they were allotted to test. So, for instance, on our side, I knew of about 8 members who were not available to test. Some too decided to do private testing and to submit the report to Parliament. And then some too who tested positive also were asked to stay away to take care of themselves, even though they are asymptomatic. But I think Speaker's position is that, the leadership, they have the list, so they know who are the positive ones and who are those who are yet to contract the disease. And so I can understand Speaker that if he knows Honorable Member A is positive on the list that he has, and he sees him in the House, he will be apprehended.
I don't know, but we are in a pandemic, and the Speaker clearly is not happy with the attitude of some of your colleagues who, even though have tested positive, are still participating in the business of the House. And he's made it clear that you go ahead and publish their names. Is this something that you support?
Medical issues are confidential matters. But like I said, leadership and speakership of the House, they will have the list. So, for instance, my brother cannot know that I am positive or negative of COVID-19, and I don't know his status unless he shares that with me. But the speakership or leadership of Parliament, they will have that list. I'm not in favor because these are medical matters. And
Roxanne Nelson Nafalmakbo speaking to Elton Broby, but his colleague MP for Second D, Andrew Japamesa, though tested but waiting for his results, told Mamavio Uswabwaje on the AM show that the Speaker must use other means rather than publication to get the MPs to comply.
I've taken a test immediately after the swearing-in ceremony, I believe on the 10th. Yeah. And then subsequently, when the Speaker indicated that parliamentarians were to do a test, I did so again on the scheduled date that my name was indicated to take. So I did indeed took the test, yes.
Would you mind sharing the test results?
Well, for the second one, I have not been informed of the outcome, which then presupposes that I was negative. But to be honest with you, I tested positive the first time. So I went through the necessary protocols and thankfully, my symptoms were mild and I've duly recovered and back to work.
But the second test that was done through Parliament, you don't have the results?
No, I don't. Because I guess that the protocol with respect to the test that we do in Parliament, this is not the first time that we've done the test in Parliament, was that it is only those who tested positive who were contacted to then proceed to take the necessary steps relative to isolating and subsequently seeking treatment if need. Yes, we are in a pandemic. We all agree.
That's Second DMP Andrew Ejapa Mesa. But the leadership of the House is currently tight-lipped on the next step forward. But my colleague Elton Brobe has been digging on this particular issue. What would it be? Name and shame? Have they decided?
So, Emifa, for a start, according to the people in leadership I've spoken to, so far they have 45 MPs yet to go through the testing. And then relating to those who've tested positive are still participating in the business on the floor. My information is that they have from now till Friday to do the needful, that is stay home and treat yourself. Now for Monday, they have instructed the Marshal and the security agencies in Parliament to ensure that they don't even have access to the President of Parliament, meaning their vehicles will not be allowed into Parliament compound. So the leadership have a responsibility between today and Friday to get to these individuals, these MPs that tested positive, and ask them to stay away from Parliament. I'm told that some of them are saying that since they did a test, they've not been told the outcome of the COVID-19 test they did. For that reason, they are unable to tell whether they are negative or positive. That information, according to them, have not been given to them, even though that was communicated to the leadership of Parliament. But I'm told that the leadership will get to them today and tomorrow and get them to stay away from Parliament. If they don't respect the directive of the leaders, the instruction is that the Marshal and the security agencies will prevent them from entering Parliament for Monday.
Well, the question still remains why MPs will test positive and still return to Parliament to continue with the business of the House. And that's it for Parliament. But let me take you back to the Greater Accra Regional Hospital. I was telling you about the story of 64-year-old Auntie Joyce, who just got off the mechanical ventilator at the ICU of the COVID-19 treatment center at Rage. She's currently struggling to complete a minute-long conversation without gasping for breath. She managed to speak to my colleague, Manuel Kranting.
Tell my daughter that I have to give up because I'm tired.
64-year-old Auntie Joyce in one of her low points as she sits in the ICU at the COVID-19 treatment center of the Greater Accra Regional Hospital. She has just been taken off oxygen after being on a mechanical ventilator for days. As a pensioner who hardly goes out, she wonders how she contracted the virus.
I stay with some babies. Their mothers went to work. If they come back, then I come home. About maybe 3 days, 4 days. The first day I told their mother that, in fact, I'm weak. So the following day when I came home and I went to a nearby clinic, and they gave me drip and medicine, I came home. Later, then I come back to Kanishi Polyclinic and they treated me.
Having taken ill before government's announcement of free testing, Auntie Joyce explains how her inability to afford the cost of testing made her delay in reporting to the hospital.
When I was in a polyclinic, in fact, I got tired. If my children carried me kurapo, in fact, I said they should give me air. Fresh air. Yes. I know that I was very, very tired when I was in the polyclinic. Oh, in fact, I'm a challenger. Even I was saying that, this COVID, is it an airborne? So, in fact.
You want to relax, just relax a bit. Just relax a bit and catch your breath. And so you're seeing here, struggling to merely even talk, and that's the manifestation of the virus right there.
That's 64-year-old Auntie Joyce there interacting with my colleague Manuel Kranting. At this point, I'm wondering what else will convince you that COVID-19 is real. Don't experience it first. Prevent it now by wearing your nose mask, wash your hands, and the use of sanitizers, plus social distancing. COVID is real. Let's stay on it a while longer because as universities have started a new academic year, most students have had to struggle not only with the compliance with COVID-19 protocols, but also with online learning. But how feasible has it been for students in terms of Wi-Fi connectivity? Judith Awotritando reports some students are worried about the new mode of learning.
COVID-19 has changed many things. From the wearing of nose masks, no handshakes and hugs, and basically an end to communal living and even the mode of teaching and learning.
We can't see the virus, we can't feel it, we can't touch it, but it's there. Like your life is now pinned to the nose mask.
Schools in Ghana, just like elsewhere, were used to face-to-face interactions prior to the pandemic. This has changed. Online learning comes with a cost. Costs of data, gadgets, and many others. In the University of Ghana, the school is running a full-blown academic semester online, which gives students no other option than to grapple with access to Wi-Fi connectivity. But is this really the situation?
At first, the online studies was a good thing. But when we get to school, we realize the Wi-Fi is not that much strong.
My affiliation was Legon Hall Annex A, and trust me, I'm seriously facing this Wi-Fi connection.
When we were coming to school, initially management told us that there will be strong Wi-Fi connection on campus. But when we came, there's nothing like that here.
Bad internet on campus means extra costs to students.
For a week, I can say I spend almost 200 cedis, yes, on data for a week.
I'm a student, and if let's say they give me 100 cedis or 200 cedis per month, and I'm to use 25 Ghana cedis every week for credit, that means I don't even get some for my own upkeep.
The students' leadership is worried. Kwame Ntofianko is president, leading the school student union.
We had a meeting last week, and in our meeting, we made them understand that before students had come to campus, they gave us the assurance that it would make the system perfect. But as it stands now, we've not seen, the Wi-Fi expansion come to fruition as we actually anticipated.
In 2020, the school provided some data services for online learning while schools were shut down. As to whether this system will be reinstated remains unknown. Judith Awotretando for Joy News.
And this is the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM, also live on myjoyonline.com. I need some fresh air at this point after the talk about COVID and it-related matters. That's head of Greater Accra Regional Hospital reviews more people are dying from post-COVID complications in Ghana. When we return, we have sports and also 3 children who survived the deadly crash on the Tamale-Buipe Road, which killed 20 people stranded after their mother died in that ghastly accident.
3 children, and then their dead mother, and then one other child that died with her. So the police has encouraged her to take possession of those children.
And I'll need some more air after this.
Me, for instance, even if I see my girlfriend do that for the first time, I might even buy you a cake.
As the head of the family, I have the right to do so, but she has no right to do that to me.
This bulletin is live in the Volta region on Jubilee Radio Keta, Volta Premier and Kekali Radio in Ho, Lonlonyo FM in Hohoi, Pando FM in Pando, Fafa Radio in Joje, Radio Hogba in Angloga, Klenam Radio Bato, Victory FM Aplao. In the eastern region, we're on K-Poly Radio in Kofrodia. In the northern region, we're on Bishara Radio, Radio 123 and Radio Justice in Tamale. And in Savannah region, we're on Inkelege FM in Bole. In the upper east region, we're live on A1 Radio and Dreams FM in Bogatanga and Radio Fumbese in Fumbese. In Upper West, we're live on Radio Sonmale in Wa, Radio Freed in Nandom, Radio Wa in Wa, and Bolu FM in Bolu. In the Bono East region, we're on Gaskia FM in Techiman. In Bono region, we're on Sky FM and Parrot FM in Sunyai. Central region, we're live on ATL FM in Cape Coast. And in the Western region, we're on Radio Max in Takrady.
Thanks for staying with us on the Midday News. Let's do sports now. Ore Kwampofo, what's in sports?
Local boxing is expected to bounce back in the first quarter of 2021 with some exciting fight nights to be announced in the coming days. Boxing was one of the sports that took a great hit due to COVID-19 restrictions last year. Following President Akufo-Addo's lifting of the ban on sporting activities late last year, a handful of promotions were organized with very limited number of fans. The Secretary General of the Ghana Boxing Authority, Patrick Johnson, however, confirms that all bouts will be held behind closed doors in compliance with safety measures.
We have our guidelines, our COVID guidelines, which we've indicated in it that all shows will be behind closed doors. No fans are going to be allowed to the arena, and every promoter who wants members to come, we are going to make sure that our protocol measures that are going to go through everything before they will be allowed to the arena. But for fans, they are not going to be allowed to the arena. Everything is going to be behind closed doors.
Well, that's your sports for now.
Thank you very much, Oreko. And 3 children who survived the deadly crash on the Tamale-Buipe Highway, which killed 20 people, are stranded as their mother and 2 other siblings died in that ghastly accident. Joy News is learning 18 bodies are yet to be identified. Here's a Savannah regional correspondent, Isaac Nonya, providing details on the stranded children and the crash.
Beyond the announcement appeal, there's nothing much they can do. The car from Kumasi to moving towards Garu, I think one of the victims who is still alive, one Madam Jamila, was able to identify 3 children and then their dead mother and then one other child that died with her. So the police has encouraged her to take possession of those children once she knows the family of the woman and then move them towards. So it will be on the police to serve their own interests by trying to get the victims of these 2 areas to meet and to further identify and see how they can carry them to their families.
Beyond the announcement to publish the images of these children, for example,
to help in identifying their families?
That is an aspect the police has not made public yet.
We can now hear from a survivor.
All we could hear was a bang sound when the buses collided. We were traveling from Kumasi to Garu. The mother of these children has been killed. Some of us are lucky to survive.
Well, that's a survivor, and police says its preliminary investigations point to sleep driving as the cause of the accident. Meanwhile, Director of the Building and Road Research Institute, Dr. Daniel Asenso Jambibi, says the percentage of Ghana's GDP spent on road crashes can be used in preventing them, rather. I'll take you to the northern region now, where more than 40 persons who were injured in the accident are still receiving treatment at the Tamale Teaching Hospital. My colleague Martina Bugri is there for us. Martina, we understand 4 people are currently in critical condition. What more do we know? Hello, Martina.
I must say that they haven't seen them in the hospital. They look so helpless. I tried speaking to one. The speech was not coordinated. He kept giving... he starts from here, moves this way, and comes back. The speech actually wasn't coordinated. And so I was told that he needs time because he has an head injury. He also has some broken limbs. There was another woman whose face was totally damaged. She couldn't open her eyes. She just lay there still. And then another man, head tied in the bandage. And so they really look very, very sick. And I was told that they would need to transfer some of them to the neuro department where they would be attended to, whilst the others also be sent to the fracture and accident trauma unit where they will be attended to. Now, we are told that 10 people have been claimed, 10 bodies have been claimed already, 4 have been identified but yet to be claimed, and then 4 are yet to be identified. We are also told that 11 people are still on admission. They are stable, they are doing well, and 5 have been discharged.
I currently have 4 in critical condition, but they are stable, and 5 have been discharged out of the 16 who had mild injuries. Currently, we would have 11 on the wards being taken care of, and for those who are in critical condition, they have been assessed, and very soon they will be transferred to the various wards for further management by other specialists.
What's the extent of injuries with those who are critically injured?
Like you just saw, they are severely injured. They are actually severely injured, and you need attention to be able to recover fast.
Do we know specifically which areas we are looking at?
We are looking at 2 major areas. That is the neurosurgery for those who sustained head injuries, and orthopedic surgery for those who had fractures.
Martina Bugri there interacting with authorities at the Tamale Teaching Hospital. Now, is flatulence or passing gas in front of your partner enough reason to consider leaving a relationship? That question has got many in Kumasi talking after a couple who featured on the popular Obra show said they were on the verge of a divorce after one of them complained bitterly about the other's constant flatulence. Listen.
My husband and I have been married for a year. We recently had an argument over farting. According to him, I fart too much. He says I do it when I'm sleeping. But how can I tell when I'm sleeping?
Mommy, I don't know. It's only no Mother, come and eat some from man.
She farts poo too much, and when I complain, she gets angry. 7:30.
Well, so do you feel free to pass gas in the presence of your partner? That's the question we pose to some people on the streets of Kumasi.
You know, if you intentionally do that in front of your partner, maybe that one can cause a problem. But if it's like in a normal routine in the morning, you are, doing your duty and then it just comes, those casual things, it's normal. Even me, for instance, even if I see my girlfriend do that for the first time, I might even buy you a cake for showing it to me,
I mean, as the head of the family, I have the right to do so, but she has no right to do that to me. I mean, in front of me.
As a couple, you have to respect each other. And to keep the romance going, I think you have to learn to do those things in private, at least to keep the romance in the relationship. When you get to the place where you can do it and he would do it, it kills everything.
Farting, it's natural. It's part of human. And so as much as you expect to feel free as a human being to do all the things human beings does, I mean, feel it. Enjoy each other's. It's not a good thing to divorce because of farting. No, not at all. Of course, I should feel free to do it. I don't know why I should hide it. It's part of me. I am human and I'm being natural. So
Not at all, because it's something that I hate. So I always advise my wife on.
What's a partner if you can't fart in front of each other's present or in front of each other? And that's it for the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. There's more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com. I am Emefa Apau. Thanks so much for your company. Pastor Men Sotabil has living word. We continue the series on Dominion Mandate.
Look at you, the big boss.
You know they hear.
You know they fear who?
Until somebody says, I will tell your mother.
That's why we say wear a mask or else.
We will call your mother.
Hey, why are you disgracing me? Why your mask?
Wear it for her. Wear it for me everywhere you go. MTN.